Hi, welcome to Andrew Buckle book review of the greatest 1950 stories ever told. Obviously, comic ones, not obviously all the books that came out around that time. Also, obviously not Marvel or Atlas, as well as Fawcett, etc. But there's lots of great stories, Wonder Woman, Superman, and also some fairly obscure ones as well. 288 pages. The book came out in 1992. There is a paperback version, obviously this one, and the hardback version. Hardback seems to be quite expensive, so that's why I went for this one. Now, I did have this book many years ago, but I got a copy again recently. So let's just show you the ISBN number and, well, got lots of details back, obviously how it fight back with television, United States Congress, etc. You can see obviously guerrilla stories. Guerrilla stories were very popular in the 1950s. There's quite a few other books of these greatest. There's the Greatest Golden Age, and there's probably other ones as well. Greatest Superman one, I think there's a number. But these are the ones I've got. The Greatest Golden Age, and this one, 1950s one. And you've got details there. Greatest stories ever told. And here's the complete list of all the stories. Now, weirdly, some of the pictures they show in the introduction, some of the characters do not appear in here. Like Supergirl. Supergirl is not in here. But you've got Green Arrow, and that's quite a weird story. Sugar and Spike, Martian Manhunter, Tomahawk, Congo Bill, and many of these have never been reprinted. I do not know why. Lots of 1950s stuff, which I think a lot of it is pretty good. It's unusual, very weird, but there's a few collections that include this stuff, but quite a lot of this is, Casey the Cop. I suspect there's never going to be an omnibus collection of Casey the Cop. Now, I think probably Casey the Cop probably turned up in quite a few comics over the years. I always remember that cop story, but it was only a one-pager, so probably if there was 50 or 60 issues, it's obviously going to be a very thin omnibus, isn't it? Johnny Thunder, romance story, Cast Off Love there, and that came from the Girls' Love Stories, number 27, which I think was possibly a Quality Comics. There is the Black Hawk one, which is also a Quality Comics one as well. Sergeant Rock, Jimmy Olsen, and others. Now, that might be in the probably Superman family book. Actually, saying that, Lois Lane. Yes, there is a Lois Lane. That's from the Showcase one. So, Jimmy Olsen, when was that? Jimmy Olsen, number 32, October 1958. And you got that, like I say, Supergirl. Weirdly, that story's not included, but it's got a great introduction. Really quite interesting, sort of talking about, obviously, the seduction of the innocent, which is great. Actually, I'm thoroughly enjoying at the moment Riverdale. I love that. That story has been brilliant with all the comic-related stuff, Pep Comics and things. Just been the best final season of Riverdale. I've always enjoyed Riverdale, but this season has been just great. Absolutely thoroughly enjoyable. Screen Comics, Adventure Comics, My Greatest Adventure, and many others. Now, there was a science fiction set. I haven't got that. I don't know if that was called the greatest science fiction thing, but still, I don't know if they've done greatest horror ones or anything like that. Would be quite nice. Also got Space Ranger. I don't think Space Ranger was not included in the list either, which is odd, isn't it? Just including those ones, but still. Sugar and Spike. And then you've got Joe Kubert and Detective Comics. Oh, it's got there. There it is. Great. I was wondering about that. Mysteries in Space, the best of DC science fiction. Not the greatest, but the best of, in this case. Now one, Uncle Scrooge in colour, mentions, and a few other ones there. Fighting American, I should say. Strange Adventures again, Adventure Comics. Oh, that looks a good one. The Colossal Superdog. Again, unfortunately, not included. That would have been a great little story. But the first one. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't actually give details of the issue it comes from, nor are the covers included, which is pity, because it would be nice to actually, because I assume this is going to be World's Finest, but your two favourite heroes, Batman and Robin, truly that should be three favourite heroes, but in one adventure, together. That's a bit of luck, isn't it? But I suppose because a lot of the stories were not like that, so they would have them separate, but this time, of course, this is quite a good one, the Kryptonite gun. Nothing but kryptonite can harm me, except probably magic and a few other things as well. Oh, red suns, etc., etc. Those sort of things. But maybe that's what the gun was using. But luckily, Batman gets it. So you've got Super Batman, or whatever he was called at that point. And of course, Superman completely forgets about that and dives out the window. You think he would think, you know what, I've lost my powers. But by the way, I'm just going to jump out the window. Is that what Superman would do? So obviously he's saved, luckily for the storyline, because it would have been awkward if he hadn't. well, I suppose he could have turned up in hospital somewhere. That would have been an interesting story in itself, I guess, wouldn't it? But you got here the what's this? Supermobile. You don't need it. An idea of mine. Or maybe he just didn't want to walk around anywhere. Who knows? But Lois, of course, investigate. Not that really matters too much. That storyline was all the time. She was always suspicious of everything. And then on to the next story. Tomahawk. Now, it's quite a dark one, this one. And some of the ink, the artwork is great. Really, really sharp. Very, very readable. And then you've got this one, which is actually not particularly the easiest to read. An enemy to both Indian and Paleface, it says there. He rode about the frontier, smuggling guns and inciting wars, etc., etc. But that's quite, the inking is a bit sort of harder to discern. Actually, that looks like Conan there, so it looks like Conan anyway. Of course it isn't. And then you've got John Jones. I love that. Martian Manhunter. The Manhunter from Mars. I'm ready for you, John Jones. Obviously, you changed the name slightly. But there you go. And there's the origin there. You can see there. Origin bit. And Sugar and Spike. Lobsters Away. Now, these stories I don't think were very long, most cases. They were very short, 4 or 5 pages. But they were always well drawn. Quite. I love, obviously, even the lobster gets away talking there. Oh, what's the next one? Lois Lane. Now, this is from Showcase Comics. Showcase had lots and lots. And I would love to see an omnibus collection of the Showcase ones. Don't know why they've never done that. Brave and the Bold, the early ones. Not obviously all the way. They could do, because there are lots of stories that, again, have never been collected. Those Brave and the Bold ones, odd issues, Showcase definitely. Obviously, some probably won't be. Dr. No, that comes to mind, the James Bond one. I suspect there'd be licensing issue on that one. Who knows? But Lois Lane got a great sort of, and obviously Lana Lang there as well. And the Green Arrow. Now, the artwork in this is really weird. It's just a truly odd story. But great. That's obviously Jack Kirby. So Green Arrow, yes, Jack Kirby. Colorist, he actually even says the colorist here, Glenn Whitmore. But that is really odd, isn't it? Prisoner of Dimension Zero. Now, I think they did sort of similar stories. Obviously, there was one in the Marvel Comics, Strange Tales, one with Human Torch. I love that. He goes off there. And, of course, he's got his Arrow Cave, Arrow Car and all those sort of things. I think they had lots of different things there. But I love the just great little tale. Anyway, don't want to show the end. You can see the end. Guess the end, of course. That would be a weird story. Congo Bill with Janu the Jungle Boy. Gorilla City. Again, they did lots of gorilla stories. Very, very popular. On to the next one. And it's this one. Captain Comet. Again, one of those stories. I don't think there was ever a Showcase collection of Captain Comet. I don't know why. Because I think they did quite a lot of stories of Captain Comet. Devil's Island in Space. Please tell me if I'm wrong on that one, because I don't think they've done a collection of Captain Comet. Can't say the story's particularly brilliant. It's okay. It's just nothing to write home about particularly. Nighthawk, another Western one. Really good. There's Nighthawk there. As a lark, it says. Great artwork. And on to the next one. Wonder Woman. Now, this is typical of these sort of Wonder Woman 1950s one. When was this? Top Secret. I don't think this was 1958. Ross Andrew. So this was slightly into the Silver Age period. Some of the, but they still sort of looked like the older 1950s one. And recently they brought out a Wonder Woman of the 50s, which was absolutely brilliant. But lots of the romance ones, very unusual stories, and they did lots of those. That was really, they were still fine little tales. There was a twist at the end, of course, like Superman, etc. Now, the artwork of this one is great. I really love these Black Hawk ones. Now, I've recently got the Showcase book of Black Hawk, and they're great little stories. Really packed solid with some. Now, maybe not for everyone, but I love them. So, Black Hawk there, and always had very inventive stuff there. And, well, you guess, obviously, they've shown what's going to happen in the storyline straight away. But the artwork is absolutely first rate. Fox and Crow. I love those ones. Fox and the Crow. I'm surprised they put that in. I think that was it. Wasn't that licensing? I don't know. Maybe, obviously, they had permission for that one. But I don't think we'll ever see a series of Fox and the Crow, I should say. But they were quite good, and I bought quite a few of those ones, I think like Screen Comics and those sort of things, as well as Fox and the Crow. And this one is very good. It was always, of course, fooling him all the way. Just love that. They're always very short, of course, as well. Superboy, there's a good old Superboy story, and The Sleeping Beauty. The Avengers Super. Again, one that, for some weird reason, has never been collected, as far as I'm aware, in omnibus collection. Why are there always these massive oversights of sort of, you think, why? Or even showcase ones. There was never a Superboy showcase. Very strange. Just completely ignored. But this is why I would like to see, I don't know, I'm going to have to go and check at the front again. Yeah, let's have a look. Viking Prince. Yes, Brave and the Bold. I was thinking it was Brave and the Bold. Hammer of Thor. Which is pretty good, isn't it? Hammer of Thor. So that's those sort of, there was a collection of some of these Viking Prince ones. I don't know if they were all collected in that book, but I think the book is quite expensive now, so I haven't got a copy. But it's a good little story there. You've got, obviously, the Hammer of Thor. Details there. Don't know what actually happens there. Oh, Thor's hammer. Great ending. Aquaman. That's really odd as well. Again, quite a lot of these stories often have the same sort of thing, very twist at the end. Last couple of panels sort of give away, oh, and XYZ. But brilliant artwork here. I love this one. Sorcerer of the Sea. I would love to see a collection of that again. There was going to be an Aquaman omnibus at some point. It never happened. I don't know if that was just going to be the Silver Age one. I think, again, I'm going to have to look back because I do not know. Aquaman, this is 1958. So, yes, that would be part of the showcase. I'm certain the showcase includes that one. I haven't looked, but I guess that must be included there. But it'd be lovely to see the Golden Age ones. Batman and Robin, Two-Face Strikes Again. Now, I'm really looking forward to the omnibus collection that's the Batman Golden Age one finally. Volume 10. I would imagine that one might be in that one. It certainly looks a lot later. Batman story there, Two-Face. And on to the next story. Next one. Now, this one's really weird. Shining Knight, another character that's not really been collected ever. But this one's Frazetta. Very lovely bit of artwork there. Knight of the Future. But again, never been collected. Lots and lots of the Knight. Obviously, we had the 7 Soldiers of Victory. But that's it. And, oh, this one's pretty good. Phantom Stranger. Now, there was a showcase series and also omnibus collection of Phantom Stranger. I didn't buy it. I haven't bought it. If it's out yet, I'm not certain. When Dead Men Walk. Can't say I've ever seen a copy of it anyway. So, plane crashes to Earth, killing everyone. And it's a good little story, good little yarn. Again, twist at the end as usual. Tommy Tomorrow. The Unmasking of Johnny Thunder. Of course, lots of westerns at that point. Now, this one, brilliant. Of course, Alex Toth. As soon as you see it, Alex Toth stands out. Just great. Great artwork. Good little stories. And weirdly, and actually good that they didn't, because sometimes certain stories get reprinted over and over again. And this one, Captain Cold. You got the Flash. I can't remember what issue that was in, but the cold gun, of course, there. My feet, and of course, he's slipping on, which of course you would. But it's still, I think he's got certain more powers that he could use to get around that problem, but still, that's a minor point. But those stories, I love those Flash ones, those early Flash. And this one is Cast Off Love. Very unusual title there, Cast Off Love. Actually quite hard to read. That bit, obviously, of love there. Great bit of artwork. And it's the only one included of the love stories. And, of course, DC produced lots of them. So, quite surprised. Spy Train. Now, that's King Faraday. I did have a King Faraday comic at one time. They're okay. I wouldn't say that they're anything particularly right home about, but it's still decent enough. So, Green Lantern, of course. Summons from Space. But one thing I do like about it, the World of Avenger in books. It's good that they included that. I guess they had to include those sort of, there's more to, that you show, there's loads of books to read, go and find out. But it's, of course, got the Green Arrow in there, as well as just Shining Knight as well. Calling Easy Company. The Rock. Great bit of Kubrick art. And then on to Superman. I had to include Superman. Now, of course, this book couldn't include everything. One of my favourites, and maybe I miss Robot Man. I think that's in this one. Robot Man's in the Golden Age one. But I'm surprised they didn't include that. I really love those. And again, another one that I'm surprised has never been collected. And you've got Challenges of the Unknown, of course. And There's an advert. They didn't include many adverts, but it would have been nice if they included more. But you've got Private Peace. Again, they did these very short ones. I mentioned the cop, Casey Cop. Casey Cop, where was that? Casey Cop. 140. So page 140. So I'll just go back to that. Again, it was just a one-pager. But they did include quite a lot of these ones. Again, another advert. Actually, this one was lovely. Johnny Peril, Queen of the Snows. Even though it slightly reminds me, and maybe this story is quite a common story that maybe has been reused many times, but it's very much like the Conan story. That's what it came across as. Where obviously he's out in the snow and there's this woman. And is she real? Is she just a ghostly figure? Who knows? But it's just odd. And when I'm looking at it, I think, oh, that sounds remarkably like the Frost Giant's daughter. Obviously, everyone will be open to a interpretation of that. But it's a nice little story, though. I think it's very well told. Great artwork. But that struck me as soon as I saw it. And you've got Challenge of the Unknown, and then and that's it. Actually, that is it. You've got a little end notes, which is always good. Lois Lane again there, and it discusses all about All American Comics Cavalcade. I love that one. I've got the archive edition of that one. Unfortunately, only 4 issues. But leading comics, 7 Soldiers of Victory. And then, of course, it changed. Quite a lot of the comics changed. 1950s, there was a lot of change, suddenly turning into, obviously, more humour, westerns, those sort of things all kicked in. And, of course, you can understand. But also, it was quite interesting reading this about the fact that lots of the shops that used to sell all these comics, those sort of ones, they completely closed. It was harder and harder. Obviously, places like Mal's and things, which obviously came in, I assume, 1950s, 1960s, that sort of time, suddenly, obviously, having those sort of stores in there where you'd sell comics in those sort of places probably wasn't a great thing at 10 cents, 15 cents, 12 cents or whatever. And so I guess that's why they all they had problems and how they sold the comics. But obviously comics had loads of different issues. But luckily it all survived into the 60s and 70s. And of course now we've got comic shops done in a different way. I must admit, I still miss the old news agents here in the UK selling comics. They still sell comics, but not in the way that they used to. But anyway, things always change. And of course, with the internet and everything else, it changes yet again. You got here talking about the Brave and Bold, Three Musketeers, Sugar and Spike, as well as adventure comics and so on. Oh, Legion. No, they didn't include them. Maybe they weren't probably in the 50s. I don't know. Mystery in Space, again, that didn't get included as well. But this is discussing, obviously, the ones that, obviously not everything can be included. And I guess lots of Westerns also were not included in this as well. Finally, at the back, a lovely advert, of course, for Flash 105, the first of, obviously, the continuing series of Flash. Obviously, 104, 103, etc. were all Golden Age ones and probably are included somewhere in here. But I love this one. Absolutely brilliant selection of stories. I really would love to see another sort of set of these books, the greatest ones. Maybe they could bring out, well, I'd just love to see more reprints of all the 1950s material. But this one is definitely brilliant. Absolutely love it. The greatest 1950s stories ever told.